Now I would welcome Kishore Mosalikanti to express his opinion on this topic, embracing gender duality through art.
Respected guests, namaskaram. I thank Priyadarsini Govind and Krishna Gana Sabha for inviting me. Due to time constraint, I do not want to talk longer. I don't want to talk at all. I don't want to talk longer. Just one point I wanted to share here. Recently, one of the Bharatanatyam dance student came to me and asked me, "Anna, I love your style of Kuchipudi. It's very nice, very beautiful. I would love to learn it, but I'm scared." I was wondering, why are you scared? Do you think, your teacher may not like it? Or he said, no. Is it financial stress? He said, no. Time stress? No. Then what? No, my teacher said I may lose my masculinity. I'm sorry, I'm not so good at English, excuse my language also. What is masculinity? I didn't understand. He said that masculine flavor will be lost, I believe, if I learn Kuchipudi. And I was so shocked and I was sad that this was said by a teacher. I don't want to take up the names. See, if you have seen Kuchipudi, okay, it was predominantly male-oriented dance form. Slowly it has changed. Vempati Master gave a lot of importance to the female dancers who have portrayed male roles like not just Krishna or Vishnu, but also Shiva and Dushyanta. And also he was one who has developed the solo repertoire so much, and he brought in various new movements. He gave importance to both the aspects of Lasyam as well as Tandavam. And just like how Andhra Pradesh or Kuchipudi village is situated in between Orissa and Tamil Nadu, Kuchipudi is in between Odissi and Bharatanatyam. It has the neat lines, it has the grace, it has the lilt, we have the torso movements, we have the waist movements. This boy asked me, excuse me, we are not oscillating the waist left and right to dance or walk. A male dancer will dance like a man. If he have to portray a female character, then he may do it in a feminine way. And when it comes to the nritta, pure nritta, then everybody can dance. Any gender can dance the pure nritta. The same nritta is done by a female dancer as a male dancer, as Nartaki said, the other genders as well. So why do you want to brand a style as a feminine style? I am completely against this. Even some students feel, I feel that keeping the waist a little bit and then giving a curvy pose is feminine. So what about the Shiva's sculpture, and what about the Krishna idol there? Can you see Krishna standing straight with his spine straight? No, he gave that little curve for beauty. So when we have the sculptures telling us what are all the beauty, we have taken this. And of course Natya Shastra has spoken about Kati Bhedas and all the Bhedas. So why do you think just because if we do a little bit of sway and graceful dance, then that how can that become a feminine style? My humble request is to those teachers who think that Kuchipudi is like more of feminine style, definitely not. Please do not give this kind of a mispropagation or a bad publicity. When it comes to a regular piece also, if I'm doing a Palukute Naltali Anamachari Kirtanam, whether I am a male narrator or female narrator, it's each individual dancer's interpretation. If I want to be a Sakhi and call, "Hey Sakhi, come here, did you see Almelmaga still sleeping?" Then I may hold my hand and I may give a feminine posture. But whereas as a male, as an Anamaya, I say, "Kulukaga nadavaro kommalala, ayo, please don't walk. My mother is losing all her decorations before she reaches the uphills." So you have to understand what the dancer is dancing. And if at all you have made your impressions by watching some mediocre styles, please do not generalize by watching some mediocre style or mediocre dancer, and do not generalize the whole style as a feminine style or a bad style. I feel that every art form, the whole title says, every art form embraces the gender duality. Maybe I should say another gender also.
Male and female dancers learn the same adavus and the same bhavas. Both equally desire to tell a story to the audience, so gender only becomes immaterial to expression if the dancer feels uncomfortable. After all, Sri Vesham has been performed by man in Bhagavatamela, Kuchipudi, Yakshagana, Kathakali and Kodiyattam traditions for centuries. I personally do not shy away from Sringara. The poets who wrote these lyrics were male. If they could convey emotions from a female point of view, a male dancer should be able to do the same. One can only do justice to the piece by fully becoming the Nayika and approaching it with integrity. It is important that, as dancers, we should also imagine freely and not limit ourselves based on gender and be confident in our approach to the character. But the difference between the male and female characters should be clear to the audience. The backbone of seamless performance for a Sringara piece is a complete knowledge of the lyrics. Any doubts as to the meanings should be cleared by consulting the right people. Also, doing the same piece several times allows for further depth and refinement. Another important exercise that helped me with the female-centric piece is teaching Sringara pieces to my students. When teaching, I have to imagine that the same piece differently for different students to fit their abilities. Teaching in this way helps one become more alert. Observing Abhinaya and discussing dance also enriches a dancer's performance. When I came to Chennai 25 years ago, the fact that I was pursuing a career in a female-dominated space didn't stop me. While there were not as many male dancers active in the scene apart from Dhanajayan, C.V. Sir and a few other male dancers, the opportunity to observe them helped me develop as a dancer. There is no single way to interpret or visualize a piece, but it's important to stay true to the interpretation you have chosen and to use your imagination to fill in the spaces. If a piece moves personally and you are comfortable with it, the audience will also be comfortable. In conclusion, I would like to say that there is no right or wrong way for male to approach a Nayika-oriented piece. I am still searching for the right way to show Sringara. Dance is always evolving and I am always learning.
I had a good fortune of interacting with Sadhanam Balakrishna Ashan for past 7 years, at least in a very personal note. And me and Amrita and Sadhanam Ashan had a good fortune to stay in the same guest house even for several months. Once I asked him about his guru, about Kumaran Nair. He said that he is also a specialist in Sri Vaisham, Kumaran Nair Ashan. He said he used to observe his wife every day, how she takes, and that is kind of transformed into his training, and he's supposed to be an expert in certain Sri Vaisham. Now, there are several questions a dancer can ask here. Is that like, how can someone become a female just by doing a female role? Or just, if I have the legitimacy of holding a kataka, mukam and a dola and just say, then I can become a female, then I think legitimately, by holding a man and a murdu in my hand, I should become Shiva. If that is not possible, then how this is legally possible or legitimately possible? Never. So it's only a concept we're relating to. In split second, perhaps the ability of the training in Indian soil, in Indian tradition is that in split second I become the character. In split second I can also become myself. Live, my example I've seen in one of the Kathakali performances is that there's an interaction between Bhima and Panchali where Panchali has come and Bhima is seated there, and suddenly Panchali realized that the stool in which Bhima is going to sit is not proper. She goes back and arranges this stool and comes back, and perhaps this is not the part of the thing. Split second, he is the actor of that particular, and then becomes Panchali. There is no point in, I think training in Indian tradition is so strong that it enables us to get into Krishna in split second and do also that Tirmanam or Jati, be the dancer, and by the end of the Tirmanam, once again become the Nayika or the Krishna, whatever we portray. Perhaps this gender warp and weft of traveling easily, that entirely has to be given to the training of the soil. Now I would request Amrita Lahiri to speak a few words about her opinions on this.
Hello, namaskar. I'm very honored to be here and especially to sit next to some great gurus, my guru as well. I request a few minutes of your time. I am going to approach this subject as a female practitioner of the male tradition of Kuchipudi dance. And I have learned all my Kuchipudi outside of Andhra, first in Washington DC, later in New Delhi, and now in Chennai with Kishoranya. But I would like to share with you about a trip that sparked many questions. I spent a few days in the village of Kuchipudi in Andhra Pradesh with Vedantam Venkatachalapati Rao, or Venku as he is known, an outstanding young dancer from a traditional Kuchipudi family. He specializes in Stree Vesham. Towards the end of my week with Venku in Kuchipudi village, I mustered up the courage to ask him what seemed to me the obvious question. Doesn't he ever feel strange dancing on stage, dressed up like a woman? No, he replied matter-of-factly. I was surprised at such an easy answer. Was he completely unaffected by prejudices and ridicule against what is normally called cross-dressing? Or perhaps he had a different intuitive understanding of gender and dance. I wanted to learn Bhama Kalapam, the most famous item in Kuchipudi, where dancers find the greatest challenge and the greatest praise in Stree Vesham especially. Usually one sees only Satyabhama's Praveshadaravu on city stages, but the character of Satyabhama is incomplete without the later Abhinaya sections, which are rich with possibilities for Abhinaya, for interpretation, elaboration. And the Kuchipudi that Venku showed has endless potential for this kind of improvisation. Now, Vachika Abhinaya is very important in Kuchipudi, as you know, and one of the dialogues in Bhama Kalapam stood out for me. Tired of Krishna's neglect, Satyabhama says to her friend Madhavi, "Oh, what a curse it is to be born a woman. A woman is like a tender leaf. A man is like a hard thorn. Whether the thorn falls on the leaf or the leaf falls on the thorn, it is the leaf that gets damaged." I cannot ignore the innuendo that line contains, especially when spoken with the hand gestures as it is performed in that sampradayam. And so he shows the thorn like this, and that's how he does it. There are many levels of interpretation possible, especially of this unique situation of a man costumed as a woman, overacting the feminine arrogance of this character of Satyabhama and bemoaning the plight of a woman's life, pining for a male god. Consider this line keeping in mind the conclusion of the drama. Once Satyabhama rids herself of her ornamentation, or as Kumaran said this morning, he was talking about without skin, she is only then reunited with Krishna, symbolic that divinity can be achieved only once we have rid ourselves of the ornaments that cover us. It is symbolic of the shedding of the ego, without which we cannot genuinely connect with a wider world. Kuchipudi, like other classical Indian dances, operates on a metaphorical concept of gender. In all of us, there is a male aspect and a female aspect, which are two principles by which to access the universe, the universal. This is the concept of Ardhanarishwar, of Shiva and Shakti, Purush and Prakriti. We all know this. One cannot exist without the other.
I wish to quote just a last incident which happened. Sorry, my reference always comes to Kalakshetra's festivals. In one of the Kathakali performances, when Stree Vesham was portrayed by one Kathakali artist, his wife was also present in the audience. He has come along with his wife. After the end of the show, his wife was not okay. He said, "In Stree Vesham nalla pannala." His wife is commenting on the husband's Stree Vesham. I think that's the height of it, and I literally got that this is what is an artist's backup from a wife, saying that அவர் நிறைய ஸ்திரீ வேஷம் பண்ணியிருக்காரு. Though the interaction was in Malayalam, he said நிறைய வாட்டி பண்ணியிருக்காரு, இன்னைக்கு இன்னும் அமையவே இல்லை. And why in the like they were also discussing in the green room. He explained it why it happened, something like that. I found that to be a very, very lively, perhaps rural Indian core performers' family talk, because they took performances as profession.